So we're thinking that it's a good time to get feedback on actually how to solve all of those problems at once. And so the claim is, well, we regain all the nice advantages we got from proofs. We want proofs that are cheap, where even stock proofs, if the on a horse trading basis, okay? Stock proofs can get very unreasonable very fast, but if stock proofs are reasonable, then I will consider them small. My end of the deal is what I call the New York Times banner contract. The stock proof needs to be smaller than the amount of data I download out of my browser on the top image of the New York Times, which in numbers translate to 100 kilobytes. If it's more than the New York Times banner, we're gonna have a word. Fast end-to-end verification latency, streamable, so that I can deploy my use case that depends on doing proofs over and over again on the same semantic state. I want a ZK bridge. We learned that doing ZK bridge, by the way. And I want no vendor lock-in. And so the idea is we can actually build a blockchain that offers you this UX. And we're very confident that this is a thing that is very easy and fast to build. You get sharded state. So sharded state avoids this conflict problem that when you are updating state, when two people are updating the same state and provide proofs updating the same state, very quickly you will realize that those two proofs are going to arrive to the blockchain and only one of them will go through. Because the other one updates the state from the same starting point as the other proof, which just updated the state, and therefore is now in conflict with that updated state. That is the mina problem that a lot of blockchains are, I call it the mina problem, but this is a problem faced by a lot of people that are usually bound to telling applications. It becomes now very complicated to develop an application on my programmable platform. The solution we like is a sharded state where it's very regulated, and that is the job of a blockchain to say who speaks at which time. There's one speaker per time. If you want to talk, you wait for your turn. And as you wait for your turn, and it is your turn, your proof is not in conflict with anybody else. Your transaction is a proof that advances your state, and you can send messages to other shards. Now you're telling me, François, you were saying there was no vendor lock-in. You're proposing to me another blockchain, that other blockchain is going to be a ghetto somewhere. How do I care about this? But wait, I have more interesting stuff. So first, I will tell you the answer to that question, but in between, I wanted to mention also that we don't have to have that aggregation model. That aggregation model and that verification on-chain on the L1 is here for security purposes. Why do you care about it? I don't have to wait that long to give you a full certificate of your transaction, your proof verification, its effect on the state that you updated. I can do that in a single one round trip. You will get a full certificate by all the validators, a majority of the validators of Proofcoin that will tell you, yes, your proof is valid, we have understood the state you wanted executed. Here is a cryptographic artifact that is signed by all of us, or a super majority of us to be technical, and that proves that this proof was valid, and you can take that certificate anywhere you want, because it relies on your ability to verify signatures. And every blockchain verifies signatures. Now this is usually the moment where the question, where I start getting the questions, is this a sidechain? It's not. It's not a sidechain, because I can't in 2024, I could in 2018, and I wish time was there as simple as that, tell you, yeah, sure, trust my validators, bro. I have 120 of them, and surely they can't all be colluding at the same time. But these days, where I can't tell you trust my validators, bro, I have to do a little bit more work. So yeah, we know how to do that work, thankfully. The nice thing about being in 2024 is that other people have done that work. Yes, we need to aggregate. Yes, the validators need to collect those proofs. They need to aggregate them into one big proof. They need to send that proof to Ethereum. That proof needs to be verified by Ethereum. They also need to be bonded. They need to be bonded in ETH. And if anything is untoward with that proof, or you do not even have liveness, then this fully decentralized network gets its validators slashed. But that proof takes 30 minutes to arrive. And if it takes 30 minutes to arrive, I want the user to have a signal that validators that know that they will be caught in 30 minutes if they say anything untoward have deemed that their proof was indeed valid. So you get all the advantages. You get the advantages of the L2, your validators are under the gun of being slashed if they do anything vaguely remotely non-kosher, but you get the feedback in a sub-second in one round trip. Some more goodies. Because we have sharded state, we can do parallelized proof verification, which means if that thing becomes successful, we can scale the validators individually. They bring more nodes online. Your shard is a fully fledged blockchain with all the nice properties of a blockchain, which means Mina gives you 8 field elements to work with in terms of state. I don't know how much we're going to give you, but I think it's going to be a bit more. Lurk can be thought of, because Lurk produces proofs, that's its one job, as the main smart contract programming language of that blockchain. But you know what? We like the ecosystem. We suspect that you are not already all Lurk users. Which is a thing we'd like to fix, don't get me wrong. But in the meantime, we would like to help you with your problems. And so you're probably generating proofs with something else. So we're going to verify that something else, all the something else's. We have an effort to standardize or universalize, have a reasonable implementation of stack verification. Go talk to Adrian relatively quickly so that we can make sure that this universalized stack verification is useful for everyone. And then we can, because we have those shards, give you your own model for transaction storage. If you want to have transaction storage that lasts forever, we'll give it to you, and you're going to have to pay for it. But if you want your transaction storage to be stored for less time, and therefore pay less, with security consequences, we can give that to you while preserving the security of the entire blockchain. The shards communicate, they have messages, and yet we do not get shards that communicate messages that are deduced from something that has now disappeared. It gets a little bit fancy. I don't have the time for this today, but ask me once I've gotten a beer. And then once you've gotten that certificate in less than 1 second, you can take that certificate to any blockchain. That certificate only contains signatures. The one thing that every other blockchain knows how to do is to verify signatures. So you can take that certificate, get it verified for a price on any blockchain that will be epsilon compared to the price of a proof verification. And yes, you're trusting a set of validators, but you have the best security guarantees behind those validators that the ecosystem knows how to put forward. So we get back everything. We get back to a world where proofs are cheap, where even stocks are small, because again, it's choose your own adventure in terms of the length of the transaction storage. If you have problems with the security things, there are other remediations than paying through the nose for storage, and we can help you put them in place. The verifier's dilemma is a thing that as a community we've worked on for many years, and we know how to defend against this to something else than storing transactions forever. We get very fast end-to-end transaction latency. One round trip with a good connection these days is under 500 milliseconds. This is streamable. You get your own proof-driven chain, and you get to play with others as well. And there's no vendor lock-in, because you only need to care about us. We're domain-specific. We're not a generalist blockchain. You only need to care about our proof verification for the first second of your transaction. After 1 second, you've got our certificate. You can bring it to whichever settlement chain you care about.